Alright guys, welcome to 2024 and welcome back to Valorant News as well. Big talking point here to kick off the new year with FNS revealing what his plans are in terms of his future as a player in the VCT professionally, when he might consider returning, but also what's been happening with Sinatraa. Rumours emerged a while ago that he was trialling for a relatively unknown team. FNS says that there were certain reasons that have prevented him being acquired, but there's been an interesting theory as to which team this actually might have been. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. Awesome year for many players, of course, difficult year for other players, but hopefully 2024 will be onwards and upwards. Of course, even as Ethan says, from what looked like a terrible year for some time to turning it around into a ridiculously good year for Ethan and Evil Geniuses, making the finals at Tokyo, winning the World Championship, got married, of course, to his girlfriend, and then moving back to NRG. So magical year for many. Obviously, some it's been a difficult year. We know that right now in the tier 2 scene, of course, it's a massive challenge for many players. So hopefully 2024 holds some more positive cards for the world of esports, quite frankly. Now, I know that a few guys were saying, oh, you should have talked about this more yesterday. I don't know what you guys think about this, because I thought this one for Marv was a little bit more kind of tongue-in-cheek, just joking around a little bit. What do you guys think about it? Because we talked yesterday, of course, that Ethan said that Baby J was the most toxic team it had. I took that kind of at face value. I don't know if, Marv really thinks that Asana's massively overrated or what, but there was a bit of talk about it, so maybe there's some truth to that statement. And to be fair, I think it is arguable, right, that Asana or 100 Thieves, given the fact that 100T have not really done much for the last few years, and Asana has been, the staple, I think there is an argument that says that Asana is, I wouldn't exactly say overrated, but I would say more so that this might be his kind of final shot on this roster, because 100T have been through so many iterations. Asana's always been there, it's never been cut, and, if 100T fail this year, then maybe Marv is onto something, right? But, I kind of thought that this one was a little bit more tongue-in-cheek, that's why I didn't mention it in so much detail, but, intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. The other thing that a few of you guys were pointing out to me, as Hardy especially did, now, I wonder exactly, to be fair, Ched asked the question, and then he just was waiting for some response, and whatever response they gave, they kind of went for it. But as Hardy says, and fair enough, they did mention Stellar as an IGL in NA. So, they had to rank the IGLs, or was it Victor that ranks the IGLs? He puts Ethan at FNS, of course, they asked him to rank him, so they put Ethan their IGL number 1, then FNS, then Valen, Gen.G, Vanity, and they mentioned Stellar here as well. Now, my theory is that he was just thinking about last year's 100T and putting Stellar here. But to be fair, it's also quite plausible that Stellar is going to be on a team again. We believe that Stellar, at least, I think there was some rumors that Stellar might have been linked to Evil Geniuses. They need an IGL. It's possible they could get one. There've also been rumors that Shazam might be going over there, so we don't really know as it stands, but just wanted to mention it for you guys because it was kind of interesting, and Stellar, of course, is looking for a good bounce back year again here going into 2024. There was, as you might expect, some good Sentinels versus G2 beef. It's going to be exciting to see both of these organizations back in the league together. We know full well what that's meant for the challenger side, making waves, with G2 going and the Guard going, and obviously, FaZe and TSM probably calling it a day. They might return, but who knows? Moist and Shopify combining. There's loads of options there for teams to qualify through the open qualifiers, and we'll discuss a certain player and maybe team around him that could try and do that again in a couple of seconds time. But G2 versus Sentinels, it's always going to be kind of spicy. But what I definitely wanted to mention was FNS's comment on a number of different ideas. So he talks about his own future as a player. We know that, they said a second ago, FNS second best IGL in NA, all this type of stuff. The fact that FNS wasn't on NRG going forwards was a surprise. I mean, we thought maybe they'd make a couple of changes, but seeing FNS and SOM depart from NRG was definitely a massive surprise when it first happens. And there was a lot of talk when NRG was struggling to actually get any players. They had lots of targets, they were doing lots of trials, and yet they weren't locking anybody in. Eventually, because EG finally came to a negotiation agreement, it worked out rather well. But there was some talk, do you want to bring FNS back? Is he going to be their best IGL? Because let's be honest, right, there's lots of talk that Ethan, Marv, who's going to IGL the new NRG team? Are they going to do a good job of it? Could FNS be the man for the job? But FNS did say, though, that he doesn't want to play for a team that he's not happy with, right? I mean, him and SOM, the same. They've had, especially FNS, a very long career in multiple different esports. It's understandable that he doesn't just want to join a roster roster, play for the roster for a bit, not to have that much of a great success, then, you know, the roster change happens, all sorts of drama, you know, difficulties, finding a new player, finding a new team, and then, you know, you get dropped or you get cut or the team has to change again, and it is what it is. And sure, that's the life of a pro player for the vast majority of players on the vast majority of teams that don't win, because it's difficult to win, you've got to make changes. But FNS doesn't really want that life anymore. He wants to be in a spot where he can enjoy competing more, and really with the team that he wants to have around him, or at least with an offer that he believes is going to be massively you know, beneficial to himself, and that he can massively benefit that particular team. So FNF gives some thoughts on this and says that, you know, as it stands, it's going to be a good few months until he gets back in the Pro League. He does believe, though, that, you know, after the first couple of splits, or after the first split, really, let's say they've done, you know, Masters Madrid, certain matches happen over the first few months of the season. He believes that maybe mid-season, that's when teams might start come knocking, right? Maybe they're struggling, need a new IGL, they come knocking on FNS's door, maybe he brings Som along as well, and then the opportunity, you know, arises for him to return. But he says that that doesn't happen, it's fine, he'll build his stream, and to be honest, with the way the salaries are currently going in the Valorant world and around esports, that's, you know, not going to be a bad move for FNS at all. He can probably make, you know, as much money, if not more money, doing that than he would having, you know, a reasonable offer. So I get it, but from FNS's side, he obviously still wants to compete, still has the competitive passion and drive within him if the opportunity was there. So this is what FNS has to say, but also we comment on Sinatraa, because there were some rumours a while ago that Sinatraa was linked to a relatively unknown team. Now, just listen closely again to this clip here from Marved, which might imply what that team could have been.
Why are you not competing? I mean, it's simple. It's just the opportunity that like hasn't come up that's worth putting everything aside for, aka my stream, which I worked really hard to build. Kind of like a brand new start now with moving and everything. Yeah, basically. Essentially, it's that. Because like it's not like I'm doing anything different. I'm still playing Valorant hella. It's actually, if anything, I'm playing more Valorant streaming than I would be competing in terms of like quantity. Obviously, the practice quality was way better than it would be if I'm just playing ranked all day, but like if I'm on a team. So it's essentially the same shit every year, dude. You join a team, you sign a contract, usually 2 to 3 years long. Every team makes a change every year anyway, and then you move on to the next thing. I'm pretty confident we'll compete. That's the thing. That's why like I'm not worried about it. Okay, there's 2 reasons I'm not worried about it. One, if I don't compete, I get to build my stream, which I'm more than happy to do and have set out to do. And if I do get to compete, then I'll just get to do what I love anyway, you know? So either way, it's a win-win. Yeah, I mean, it's not anytime soon, so trust me. I'll be streaming for at least the first 3 months of the year. At least. The most likely time we'll join a team will be around like April, May area. It won't be before that. I can guarantee you that. Why do you think J1 isn't getting picked? The controversy. Allegations and shit. Obvious. Every org would receive too much backlash.
The like Sadak you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's gonna be
Just not the other one.
not the other guy? Oh no, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
We don't say everything. Just not the other one.
Not the other guy? Oh no, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. We don't say everything.
So this was the tweet about Sinatraa, right? 28th of November, there were rumours emerging that Sinatraa had recently tried out for an unknown team, that he was interested in returning to professional play. Now, we don't really know if that's true, what Sinatra's thoughts are. We know that at the start of 2023, when Sinatraa and the other guys were playing and trying to qualify for challenges, at least they played in the qualifier, and they never really took it too seriously. But Sinatraa ever since then has been like, well, you know, maybe I'll come back, maybe I won't. And sure, I get it from his point of view, maybe just streaming is for the better. But I struggle to believe that a player that's been at the top of, you know, a couple of different esports doesn't want to return if they could. Maybe Sinatra's happy doing what he's doing, but, you know, if he was to get a good offer from a good team, would he take it? I'm kind of inclined to believe that he probably would. So is FNS right that still, you know, the kind of hangover from the allegations is preventing Sinatraa getting a spot? I think that's definitely part of the reason. Maybe another part is that he's, you know, not super keen to do it, as maybe he has has been previously. But the idea that he tried out for a team back in the end of November was interesting because it implies, obviously, that he's looking to make the return. So this was a comment on that, those comments actually from FNS here, which I thought was very interesting. If you've seen that clip of Chet and Marv discussing the alternatives, they tried out for NRG. They make it pretty obvious they tried out Sinatraa as well, based on the don't mention that one guy bit. So this is what Chet says, and they're talking about the options they had on the table. They're talking about Sadak, they're talking about Narrate that they potentially were trying out. They were talking about like Poised and these other players as well. There was a few clips really where they talked about this over the last couple of days. But yeah, Chet did say, don't mention that guy type thing. So I didn't really comment on it on the time, and maybe it's a bit too much of a step to say that, well, just because Chet said that, then it's definitely Sinatraa. But it does kind of add up a little bit, right? Maybe maybe NRG don't want it to be known out there, and obviously Gemsbev didn't report on it, although you could probably imagine that he might well have known what team it was. I don't know, what do you guys think? Because Gemsbev, he sees all the scrimbucks, he has some good sources, and yet Sinatra's team was unknown, I don't know. Do you think Gemsbev was asked to keep this one quiet on what team that it was? Or, is that what Chet's trying to achieve here as well? So it's a bit of a stretch, maybe it's a bit of a leap, but, I can see the validity in this argument. But at the end of the day, NRG got what they wanted. They got Ethan, they got Demon 1 in, they got the moves done. Whether they would have chosen Sinatraa had they not have signed those couple of players, that is very interesting. And also, if Sinatraa was trying for NRG, if you're Sinatraa, you might say, oh, well, I'm not really sure if I want to compete. But NRG come knocking, and then he's like, well, I guess I'll do a trial. Sure, let's give it a go. Then, of course, they went a different route. But that implies that the future is definitely still possible. And if NRG did consider Sinatraa, then, it's a question as to why, was it allegation related, according to FNS, why they would have said no, or was it just they thought that Ethan and Demon 1 were better fits? Would they have, committed to Sinatraa if this is even a talking point in the first place, if it have done well in practice? That's a question, but it raises, lots of interesting points. Now, will Sinatraa, because, he's not getting on a VCT team in the Pro League again, but last year he did play, okay, a bit for fun, but in the open qualifiers for challenges. This season, there's still plenty of spots up for grabs, and they're happening at roughly the end of January. I think last year they were kind of like mid-January. This time it's more end and middle of February, but still, the opportunity is there. So if Sinatraa is keen to compete, then I think we'll see, because if you don't play the challenges qualifiers, then you're probably admitting that you're not really too keen in actually returning to competition. But very much interested your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.